The social media public opinion wars fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng's attack. Hello, friends. Today is April 2nd, 2025, Wednesday. Welcome to Watch This Issue. Inside View of China. Recently, on overseas social media platforms, as X on Twitter and YouTube, there has been a public opinion attack on Pastor fuxiqiu and blind rights lawyer, many well-known self-media people, and the account number of the screen name this month as a representative. Some users with ambiguous identities have intensively posted various accusations and smear messages against fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng, which has aroused strong attention in the Chinese community. We will analyze it calmly today, the typical content and routine of this attack, and discuss the possible political or information warfare background. In particular, whether the Communist Party of China or pro-communist forces are involved in the control issues. And we evaluate the impact of such behavior on the overseas Chinese community, the impact of human rights institutions' belief in justice and in American law, the issue of ethics and the boundaries of such issues in international public opinion. People's first concern is, this attack is typical in content and routine. First, let's look at the content and methods of this attack. Looking at the recent attacks on fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng, we can find several typical patterns. First, there is no hard evidence. I spent 3 days. I almost read all the comments of various big and small internet celebrity. I found no doubts. Abuse and taunting, which includes, it can be said that no one has any substance to support their doubts and hard evidence. All their criticism. First of all, they presuppose that all Democrats and founders of public welfare and charity organizations are very poor and low income, are not worthy of owning a house. You have to live like a beggar. Miserable is what they expected. Or people like you don't deserve a good house at all. So then, has a house. Oops, such a nice house is terrible. He must have embezzled. They must be in some dark place. These are all very wrong. What I want to tell you is that the founders of the foundations I have met, Chinese and foreign, are very wealthy and also passionate about charity. Let me give you some familiar examples, such as Li Ka-shing, Hu Yingdong, Xiao Yifu, Buffett, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, Rockefeller, Ford, and others. The founders of these foundations are all wealthy people. Next, let's talk about pastors. To be honest, I have met many pastors. Pastors' income is very high. Many pastors are very wealthy, because many rich Christians are very keen to donate to pastors. In the eyes of Christians, pastors are God's servants. God's servants deserve a good life. This is God's grace and favor, and it is also what they deserve. As for Mr. Chenguangcheng, I know very well. He works in a research institute of a famous university. He holds a high position and earns a high salary, with an annual salary of hundreds of thousands of dollars. The house he lives in is now very ordinary. As mentioned by some big influencer, it's said that chenguangcheng and fuxiqiu in the Washington area owned a property worth $1.4 million. The property issue. To be honest, I went to the United States to carefully inspect the real estate in the United States, in the Washington, D.C. area, including Maryland, where 1.40 million can't buy a good house. Better houses are millions and tens of millions. Over 1.4 million is just an ordinary house, not a mansion. I have personally inspected it for a long time in America before I came to this conclusion. Second, it's about property smearing. The attackers publicly inquired and exposed fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng real estate information in the United States, including their 99-0 tax forms. They hyped that he owned multiple properties. For example, there is an account questioning that fuxiqiu purchased 5 houses, suggesting that the source of his wealth is unknown, and their income does not match their property. This method tries to portray human rights activists as hypocrites who seek profit, giving the impression that they are engaged in public welfare, but enriching themselves, and forced fuxiqiu to explain the source of funds. This is actually the same method as the Cultural Revolution, which is the same as the method of labeling and beating. The third is identity attacks. Some people spread rumors questioning the authenticity of Chenguangcheng's disability, suggesting that the famous blind rights lawyer was actually not blind. They used visual contrast, identity doubts, and saving people's revelations to construct a chain of rumors. In order to achieve a viral spread effect, Chenguangcheng has been deeply rooted in people's hearts as a blind lawyer. So once his blindness is called into question, it is easy to cause a shock effect in the eyes of the creator shock effect. For example, someone on social media explicitly said that Chenguangcheng could see the tweet so quickly and respond to it. Is he really totally blind? To create a topic. And this skeptic completely ignores the assistive technology that blind people can use, and use some common sense of the internet, which is a typical malicious slander. To be honest, I don't think the person who doubts this is well-intentioned. How can you question a blind person is not blind? What kind of absurd logic is this? It's a joke about people's bodies. I think this is too much. The fourth aspect is the issue of labeling and spreading rumors. In the attack are full of various labels and personal attacks. For example, accusing fuxiqiu and Chenguangcheng of being a so-called democracy movement liar, agents and informants, and even labeled them as Trump supporters to weaken their credibility among different groups. Some even called fuxiqiu a quack, suggesting that he makes money by religion. These accusations are all lacking any evidence. The United States is a country ruled by law. If you really have evidence if there is any evidence of his crime, you can report him, like calling the police, such as tax evasion or embezzled public funds from the foundation. You can report him. No, these accusations are completely lacking in evidence, and they are contrary to the facts. It's just to depict the two people, portray them as politically unreliable and morally flawed characters. The sixth aspect is forcing the accused to prove his innocence. This is terrifying. The attacker often does not provide any reliable evidence. They throw out various suggestive accusations. And then, on the contrary, they ask the accused to prove their innocence. Many netizens may have seen this, the movie Let the Bullets Fly. There is a scene in it. Is it in the restaurant? Someone suspected that Lao Lu had drunk 2 bowls of soy milk, but in fact, they were a group of evil thugs. They accused the 6th person for no reason. The 6th brother denied it. Talk nonsense. He was very wronged. After several arguments, these people forced Lao Lu to prove his innocence, until the 6th child was forced to dissect himself to prove his innocence. Died on the spot. Look at these people. It's all right. Disperse angrily. As some comments pointed out, this type of attack is similar to previous methods against writers such as New are the same. A woman with a child comes forward to gain sympathy and traffic. A group of online trolls followed suit. This kind of unfounded accusation, requiring the accused to prove their innocence. Do you dare to respond? Moo, right? Come out and take a walk. How about a lie detector test? And so on. There are endless tactics. The logic trap is that, whether the attacked responds or not, they are very passive. If he doesn't respond, he's implied to be guilty. Responding to clarify may be misinterpreted as darker. For example, after fuxiqiu expressed anger at false accusations, the rumor monger took the opportunity to portray him as angry and suppressing the questioners, trying to further confirm his problems. In general, the attacker carefully combined privacy exposure, malicious speculation, and sensational rumors to smear fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng. They seized the public's curiosity to attract attention with sensational revelations and used the audience's confusion about information asymmetry, forcing the parties to defend themselves, thus shifting the burden of proof. Before the truth is clarified, then these unsubstantiated allegations have quickly spread online. This has seriously damaged the reputation. To be honest, I think it has caused serious damage. Let's take a look at the identity ambiguity of the cyber attacker and its dissemination path. The main attacker in this public opinion storm. On the surface, they are just ordinary netizens or self-media people, but their true identities and backgrounds are quite suspicious. The dissemination path also hides careful planning. One of the first to issue difficulties is this month's account number. She claimed to be a Chinese woman with a child. In this incident, she used her identity as an ordinary mother, was the first to post on Twitter questioning fuxiqiu's real estate issue. Such a character. It's easy to win the sympathy and trust of onlookers, right? As a parent who dares to expose the scandals of big people. So dramatic. However, his real name and background were not released this month. His identity is indeed a mystery. If she is truly committed to upholding social justice, she can totally say, "I will publicly stand up and accuse you of something." It's normal. In the United States, too many people have come forward publicly to accuse the president. Freedom of speech is your human right. Then his anonymous account to start retweeting and responding and start to question it. Got a lot of this kind of trumpet forwarding. This kind of huge traffic. It shows that there is a pre-prepared communication network. This is my personal experience and analysis. Then, immediately after this month, many self-media people with a large number of fans began to get involved. Many of them were once well-known journalists and well-known online influencers. So these big Vs are starting to publicly echo the unfounded doubts about fuxiqiu's property. For example, they believe that fuxiqiu earns $100,000 a year, and so on. How high his income is. $100,000 is nothing in America. Friends, in California, we go to California to visit California for inspection. There are many people with monthly salaries of $70,000 or $80,000. Even an income of less than $10,000 a month is really not a high income in the US. It's just an average income. So these people are through this kind of people's ignorance of America. It's really, or their own one, the really narrow one. And use narrow vision to guess. That's what these people suspect now. And their income, to judge the development of a foundation. They openly question the public welfare undertakings of fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng. To be honest, I really feel quite sorry. If there is a discrepancy between income and property, they could have just reported it to the relevant departments. But it's not like that. People began to gather in large numbers through the internet and swarm in the comment section, and various platforms spread the accusations, which added fuel to the attack. What's more notable is that the attack saw a pack of wolves. Many groups have different motives, but formed a joint force and simultaneously besieged Fu and Chen. Some observers pointed out that This person launched an attack under a false identity. There are a group of familiar faces behind it. The Internet Army with Guo Wengui's remnants, but also Wang Jian's die-hard fans. There are even a large number of anonymous accounts with unknown pro-communist positions. They were constantly fanning the flames and provide fire support. These accounts cooperate with each other to create an overwhelming public opinion offensive. Among them, some are obviously manipulated by paid trolls, because it's clear that, including my account, which has also been attacked, they are all robots. They all say the same words. It's obvious that they are operated by robots. This account has a shallow history and a single purpose, only used to swipe the screen for specific topics. Some are big influencers with hidden positions, usually not obvious pro-communist. But on this incident, we concentrated on taking sides to attack Fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng. I think if they really have problems, there must be solid evidence, right? The relevant law enforcement departments are also investigating and confirm that they do have problems. It's not too late to attack them then. Rashly attack when the facts are unclear, especially for influential big influencer. It is really irresponsible. Then this is the main battlefield this time. At first, a few accounts posted revelations, and then a large number of water armies retweeted and spread, and the relevant topics were hyped. Then, there were also many live broadcasts on YouTube and related video discussions. We saw many big influencers and some top Chinese influencers. This YouTube is all about fuxiqiu's real estate. Then some pro-communist self-media and so-called smear bloggers also made videos, hype fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng's black material. At the same time, the Telegraph group gathered in the Chinese, even in WeChat moments. I also saw these accusations being reposted, which sparked heated discussions among Chinese netizens. It can be said that it is a multi-platform linkage. I really have reason to believe that this is an organized action. Interestingly, although the attackers occupy this offensive position, they also tried to play the role of victims, which is incredible. When fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng came forward to refute it, they immediately said they were cyberbullied. It's reported that the woman who claimed after the fact he was physically threatened quickly deleted the post and quit the network. Later, she even faked her death and resurrection. She died first, then lived. Such a farce. The reason is that a Twitter user named Moses, this month's home address was exposed online, and her child's name and other private information. It's called unboxing, right? Also put pressure on her. Asked to delete relevant posts within 2 hours. The only person he follows is fuxiqiu. This move, it was seen as a counterattack supported by fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng. It's a fake account, or whatever. But this way of human flesh exposure, it undoubtedly gives the attacker a handle. Many internet celebrities immediately condemned it. This is the underworld method ordered by fuxiqiu's side. Oh my God. This has escalated. They painted the threat to Jin Yue and her son. Jin Yue is dead. And so on. It's really a full-fledged drama. I have doubts about whether Ms. Jin Yue really exists. I have doubts. And I also had some doubts about whether she was really dead. Under the circumstances of unclear information, he died. This thing is hard to explain. The public opinion war between them has intensified. There were even blatant threats. According to chenguangcheng, there are many extreme fans of extreme big influencers, threatened the safety of his children online. In the United States, constitutes a crime. He angrily rebuked these Chinese trash. not only exported the Cultural Revolution's criticism, but also to Japan. Chenguangcheng's children seem to be in Japan. This shows that there are many who use despicable means in the attackers. These behaviors have gone beyond the scope of speech and discussion to the level of cross-border harassment and intimidation. In the whole incident, attackers and supporters used a lot of pseudonyms and social media accounts, whose identities are hard to distinguish, and their origins are unknown. This mask struggle makes the truth even more confusing, and it makes people wonder whether there is a bigger mastermind is manipulating all this behind the scenes. I think there may be a political background or cyber warfare factors. Various signs indicate that behind this seemingly folk public opinion battle, there may be the shadow of political forces, or even a carefully planned information war. In terms of timing, it's not isolated and accidental, but more like a premeditated, a practice of cyber public opinion warfare. Every one of us in China who speaks out overseas, these so-called anti-communist people, may face this kind of online violence. This danger. First, let's look at the identities of fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng. Make them natural targets of some forces and human rights violations. Fuxiqiu is the head of the China Aid Association. He has long been internationally exposing China's religious persecution and human rights violations. Chen Guangcheng is famous for fleeing from CCP's oppression and a global rights activist. These two people have defended human rights and criticized the CCP, have been highly exposed, which has long made the Beijing authorities hate them. The CCP has repeatedly in official media secretly criticized overseas activists as hypocritical and having backers, etc., to weaken their credibility. Now on social media, suddenly erupted a lot of dirt against them. It's hard to say it has nothing to do with the CCP's foreign PR strategy. At least in terms of effect, this attack, it fits the script that Beijing wants to see, is to damage the reputation of the two dissidents and shake their supporters, and make overseas Chinese doubt them. This is exactly what the CCP is very willing to see. So, by further analyzing the various accounts involved in the cyber attack, we can see a strange picture of the alliance. Some who call themselves anti-communist. These people actually joined forces with pro-communist forces. Wow! They jointly targeted more determined anti-communists to launch an offensive. This has not been unprecedented in the past. Some time ago, the exiled businessperson Guo Wengui once claimed to destroy the CCP, but instead targeted other exiled dissidents, accusing them of being CCP spies to confuse the public. Later, the Communist Party agents he accused were fined. He was arrested by the U.S. law enforcement agencies, was arrested by the relevant law enforcement agencies in the U.S., and is now in prison. Recently, there is news that he might be granted amnesty, which is a good thing. In 2020, Guo Wengui publicly spread rumors that fuxiqiu was a spy planted by the CCP in the U.S. and incited his supporters run to fuxiqiu's residence in Texas to demonstrate, threaten to remove him, and so on. Fuxiqiu's family was forced to leave briefly to avoid that farce. It was regarded as the CCP's use of agents to divide the dissident camp. In this offensive against fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng, the participation of Guo Wengui's forces again, which is not surprising. It is observed that some accounts actively repost smear remarks, are said to be the die-hard fans of Guo's Revelations revolution. They continued Guo Wengui's past rhetoric, put fuxiqiu and Chen Guangcheng on charges such as spies and liars, to make up for Guo's false accusations. It's hard to say who is a CCP spy, but as a former Chinese media workers in the system, or their positions are indeed more complicated. In recent years, due to political opinions, then they are also at odds with many pro-democracy activists. Some people are anti-Trump, while fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng, they have more sympathy for the conservatives and support Trump. In fact, I have an opinion on their support for Trump. I have my opinion. I don't agree with their views. Trump has done something wrong. We should oppose it when it's wrong. But we can't accept everything. But they have their positions. We should respect them. So, on the ideological level, there is this gap, which is a lot and common. But this time, many people chose to come out to intervene and smear them. I believe it is likely out of personal grudges, or for traffic and attention, or some instructions from the CCP. Regardless of their subjective motives, they actually played the role of artillery, using their credibility to endorse a rumor campaign, to help the CCP to eliminate dissidents. This is indeed very scary. Using the freedom of speech in the Western world, which is also very dangerous, and they may even be sued. Especially for some famous online influencers, their speeches should be cautious. Say the defendant is the defendant. Isn't this effectively equivalent to assisting the CCP's firepower? Right? They mobilize their own fans to besiege dissidents. What's more, the Beijing-friendly online trolls also took the opportunity to intervene, to fan the flames. Under the topic related to this incident, many accounts that had never appeared before appeared. Crazy Attack, fuxiqiu, and chenguangcheng. Some even have language styles, are highly similar to domestic 5 cents, filled with official propaganda rhetoric. This implies that it is possible that the Communist Party of China took the opportunity to launch a wave of online water army operations to execute fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng by public opinion. Right. Some comments called this incident as an information warfare exercise. Well, judging from the current situation, it is indeed that everyone thinks that using this social media platform of the free world, using freedom of speech, to instantly drown out the voices of specific targets, so as to completely destroy their image. This is indeed the method of the CCP's public opinion war. Then these attacks, for overseas Chinese communities and human rights institutions, have caused, cannot be underestimated. First, it has caused great division and mistrust, have caused huge rifts and mistrust. Some Chinese netizens who didn't know the truth, seeing the overwhelming accusations, began to doubt the character and motives of fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng, while some supporters defended them and fought for them. Of course, those who defend them have also been heavily attacked, including myself. The two sides have a fierce confrontation online. Community opinion was so torn apart. Then, when people who should have been united against tyranny kill each other and accuse each other of being spies, the real authoritarian forces reap the benefits. It's a win-win situation for the enemy. Secondly, this smear campaign, slandering the credibility of human rights institutions. This refers to the China Aid Association led by fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng's various human rights activities, which originally had some international prestige. But once the rumors came out, potential supporters began to be skeptical and began to waver. Donors are hesitant to donate, and cooperative institutions will also think twice. This hits the nail on the head of suppressing human rights. Finally, the belief in public welfare itself is also affected. If even the firms struggle, years of persecuted dissident heroes, are said to be Communist Party spies and liars, would ordinary people be more discouraged? Who in this world is not a liar or a spy? This is undoubtedly a slap in the face of all those who, to pour cold water on them and weaken their confidence in fighting against tyranny. It also serves the interests of dictators. It needs to be emphasized that we are not asserting that the attack was directly directed by the CCP, but no matter who is behind it, whose effect objectively serves the interests of the CCP. I have just said this. What's more, there is solid evidence that Beijing authorities overseas organized similar social media opinion attack operations. Department of Justice indicted more than 40 Chinese police officers this year, accused them of posing as social media users, harassment and smearing of Chinese dissidents abroad. In other words, the CCP has motives and means to launch this information warfare. The various people in this incident surrounded fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng was likely a real-life information warfare. For such a cognitive war against them, we must be vigilant. In fact, this is the case under the American system. Under his legal ethics system, there are countermeasures. The US can sue for such cases. Their information is public. Everyone can supervise each other or report to law enforcement agencies. But if it's malicious slander, the consequences will be serious. The consequences will be serious or even go bankrupt. So, I predict that some internet celebrities may be sued. This is also a very interesting thing. It's also a matter worthy of attention, especially when it comes to personal harassment. American law absolutely prohibits personal harassment, personal threats, and personal harassment, which is zero tolerance in American law. I also suggest those who attempt to threaten chenguangcheng are illegal. They may be arrested by the relevant law enforcement agencies. It's a complicated matter. It's complicated. This is a problem of the United States. Let's not talk about it. So, overall, we have systematically reviewed, this time America, people through the internet platform, across borders, to Europe, right? To North America and even Africa, which so many people participated in, to fuxiqiu and chenguangcheng. This kind of encirclement and suppression of Chinese dissidents, I still say that, if they really broke the law and really did something inappropriate, they deserve to be investigated. Everyone has the right to question. That's fine. But what is the premise? There must be real evidence. Without any evidence, to blindly accuse someone, this is very sinful, which is unacceptable in Christianity. It's a terrible thing to bear false witness and hurt people. You don't know anything, and even you, and your vision is very narrow. You don't even know what a foundation is, but you start to accuse others one after another, pretending to be an expert and pretend to know everything. Is that so? No. So this matter is worth watching and keep observing. I also appeal to every one of my netizens to keep a normal mind on this issue. Everyone should look at this matter carefully and prudently. I believe that, if they really have any illegal behavior, they will take action without our intervention. With such a big public opinion, then the relevant law enforcement agencies in the United States will naturally come to the door. They will do relevant investigations. But from the current published information, everything is normal. There is no illegal issue at all. The accounting books are very professional and were promptly disclosed to the public. Right? What unreasonable place did you say? You can't point it out. You can only suspect it from your limited and narrow view. It's meaningless. It's completely legal. and in line with the rules. Okay, friends, we won't say more. Today's program will end here for now. Thank you for your support and help. I'll be back at the same time tomorrow.